Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome to yours and mine, Cozy Corner. My name is Amanda, and on this channel, we talk about books, and more books. Hello, friends. So, you can tell from the title of this video, this is going to be my November TBR list. Now, just let me quickly say that October, that was the first time that I actually did a physical TBR list of books, for me to read. Usually I'm a mood reader, so I just kind of go with, whatever I'm feeling. But I made that TBR list for October. I did not read every book on it, but I read a pretty good amount. And I have to admit, it was actually nice making the list because part of me kind of felt like, okay, I don't have to be overwhelmed with all the books that I have because I'm going to read all of them at some point. But right now, these are the books that I want to read. And at the same time, I also didn't feel like I was locked into that list. So I felt like I had the freedom to switch it up as needed. So again, I say all that to say it's pretty nice to have a TBR list, and it's pretty nice to actually be able to, pick your books as you want to. I think the combination of both of them are just really great. So with that being said, let's get into the November 2025 TBR list. Okay, so you guys know I have my handy dandy notes as usual. So, being that I did not complete all of the books that were on my TBR list, some of them I still want to read. So, I'm going to list the ones that I'm going to bring over from the October TBR list, and I won't go into details of these because I have them on a video. I will try to remember to link the video below so that if you want a synopsis of these books, you can go back to that video and see it. Now, in no particular order, I have Pet Cemetery by Stephen King, which is a horror, paranormal, supernatural adult fiction. I also have Misery by Stephen King, which is also a horror, suspense, thriller, adult fiction. Then I have The Tennis Partner, and forgive me if I mess up the name, but by Abraham Verghese. This is a memoir, and I really, really hope that I get to this particular book this month. The next is Invisible Sun by Kim Johnson, which is contemporary young adult thriller with some social justice topics in there. Now, the next book, Brennan and Sebastian Hate Each Other by Bethany Turner, that was on my October TBR list. However, I don't know that I necessarily want to read this particular book for November. And the reason I say this is a contemporary adult romance, um, enemies to lover trope. So I read all types of books, all types of genres, but I'm not the biggest romance girly. But if I need a palate cleanser, I think I will bring this book in. Now, if I don't need a palate cleanser with what I have on the list, then I'm probably going to save that for another time. But that is all of the books that are going to come over from the October TBR list. Okay, so the next set of books I'm going to talk about are going to be new. They were not on any TBR list. And my first book is Our Crooked Heart by Melissa Albert. Now, I won't go into a deep synopsis of this book either because I have a video. I haven't posted it yet, but this particular book was included in a haul in that video. But I will tell you that it is paranormal, YA fantasy, horror, witches, mystery, magic, thriller. It just has a lot of stuff going on it. But a very brief synopsis of this book is it's about a 17-year-old girl named Ivy who gets into a car accident, and then all this like bizarre things start to take place. She starts to find out things about her mother, and it's one of those books that puts you like in the 1990s kind of vibe, from that book. So that's all I'll say about that one. But that's going to be on the November TBR list. The next book that is going to be on that list is going to be You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. Now, this would be the second book that I have read by this author. I enjoyed the first one. I believe the name was The Perfect Marriage. I believe the name of that book. If I'm wrong, I'll put it up there. But this book is an adult thriller, mystery, suspense, horror novel. Brief synopsis. So this is about Grace Evan, who books an Airbnb on a ranch in the middle of Wyoming. She meets the handsome owner named Calvin Wells, who is eager to introduce her to his easygoing way of life. But there are some things she's not pleased about, but despite that, the two fall for one another. As the departure date nears, Grace grows wary of Calvin as his infatuation seems to morph into obsession. But Calvin also feels that Grace is hiding something from him, to include her reason for staying at the ranch. Y'all, this synopsis sounds so good with this book. Look, if you guys have read this, please leave in the comments. Let me know. No, don't give me any spoilers in the comments. Just let me know what rating you gave it and what you thought of it. Okay? Oh, I can't wait to read that. Thanks, guys. Okay, the next book that we have is The Fourth Child by Jessica Winter. Um, and this is a contemporary adult historical fiction coming of age book that that talks about religion and family issues. Brief synopsis. Jane, who is this book smart, devout Catholic young lady, becomes pregnant in high school. By her early 20s, she is raising three children in the suburbs with her husband. As her children are growing older and more independent, Jane is overcome by a spiritual and intellectual restlessness that leads her to become involved with a local pro life group. They, well, she feels called to adopt a little girl from Eastern Europe. I say they, meaning, her and her husband feel called to adopt a little girl from Eastern Europe. But this is a difficult child who was deprived of a loving caregiver in infancy. Because of this, she remains unattached to her new parents. As Jane becomes consumed with chasing therapies that might help her adopted daughter, her relationship with her family, especially her older daughter Lauren, begin to fray. Feeling estranged from her mother and unsettled in her new high school, Lauren begins to discover the power of her own creativity and sexuality. But when Lauren is confronted with the limits of her youth and independence, Jane is thrown into an emotional crisis, forced to reconcile her principle and faith with her determination to keep her daughter safe. So that also sounds like that's going to be just a really, really good book. Next on the list, we have The Shack by William Paul Young. This is a Christian inspirational fictional novel. Um, I want to say that this was a movie or made into a movie. I can't be 100% certain. I said I was going to look it up before I made this video, and obviously I didn't. But I believe this is a movie, and if it is, I have seen the movie, and I know this is not always the case, but 9 times out of 10, books, in my opinion, are usually better than the movie adaptation. And with that being said, that was a good movie, and that movie had me emotional. If this is the same story, um, And if that movie had me like that, I know this book is probably going to have me messed up. But a quick synopsis. So, so we have Missy, who has been abducted during a family vacation, and evidence that she may have been brutally is found in an abandoned shack deep in Oregon wilderness. 4 years later, in the midst of his great sadness, Mac, Missy's father, receives a suspicious note, apparently from God, inviting him back to the shack for a weekend. Against his better judgment, he arrives at the shack on a wintry afternoon and walks back into his darkest nightmare. What he finds there will change his world forever. Now, this is a really short read. This one is 248 pages. And like I said, I'm almost like 95% certain that this is the movie that I saw a while back. If so, I know it's going to have me quite emotional, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. Okay, so do not talk about me, okay? This next book I'm going to talk about is, I feel like, it's one of those books that every thriller girl knows. Now, again, I would call myself more of a horror girl, but nevertheless, I have read a lot of thrillers, and I have to admit that I have not read this one, which is The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. Yes, this book came out in 2015. You know, I'm late, but that's the wonderful things with books. You will never, ever be able to read all the books that's out there. It's just impossible. And just because a book is an older book doesn't mean that it's not going to be good. It could actually be great. And so to me, whether I read the book when it comes out or I read it 10, 15, 20 years later, it doesn't matter. The fact that it's there and I get to read it, awesome. So anyway, this is a contemporary adult mystery suspense thriller. Now, it's about the synopsis. Rachel catches the same train every morning. She's even started to feel like she knows the people who live in one of the houses. Jess and Jason, she calls them. Their life, as she sees it, is perfect. If only Rachel could be that happy. And then she sees something shocking. It's only a minute until the train moves on, but it's enough. Now everything changed. Now Rachel has a chance to become part of the lives she's only watched from afar. Rachel goes to the police, but is she really as unreliable as they say? Soon she is deeply entangled not only in the investigation, but in the lives of everyone involved. Has she done more harm than good? Now, this sounds very good to me, and I haven't like read any reviews on this book or videos, but I've heard people mention the name The Girl on the Train. Now, oh, excuse me, I think I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me, y'all. What I'm intrigued by on the synopsis is when it says, let me see, let me find it. It says, but is she really as unreliable as they say? Well, if you're going to the police and something's happening, they think you're unreliable. I mean, do you go to the police every other day? Like, I'm really interested to know why that part is mentioned in the synopsis. So, hey, matter of fact, if you read this one, let me know as well and put it in the comments for me. Thank you. Okay, friends, so that's it. Hopefully, I did not take forever to go through this November TBR video, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I have the gift of gab. I can sit here and talk for hours. Doesn't bother me, but I want to know what you guys think. Would you like short videos, longer videos? Does it not matter? Just as long as I get the information out. Whatever you can share with me, I would really appreciate it because I do, the goal of this channel is I hope to reach people who it needs to reach, who enjoy books, who want to talk about books. And, sometimes when you talk about books, you just got to talk about them. And sometimes they take a little longer to do that. It's not just, me flashing, a book, what it looks like, and that's it. We want to talk about it. So I want to know what you guys like. As of now, since my channel is so small, I just keep, doing it for now the way I am until I hear from you guys and you tell me what it is that you want. And if it's something that, I feel that it works and, I can incorporate it, then I will. Okay. But as of now, I want to say thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. You guys know what to do. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.